What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. Now, this video, we're going to be covering King in Black S.W.O.R.D. issue number 4. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with S.W.O.R.D, or if you haven't been keeping up with the King in Black line, I got you covered. Go ahead and check out the description as well as the top of this video. I got links that'll get you completely caught up on everything that's been going on in this hugely, vastly, ginormous Marvel event. And also be sure to check out the channel a little later on today. We're going to have issue number 1 of the Black Knight, as well as the new issue of Captain Marvel broken down so you guys can check that out. Now, this is written by Al Ewing, artist Valerio Shatai, and letterer is VC's Ariana Mayer. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Now, the opening pages of this one shows Frenzy floating through nothingness, seeing the darkness, seeing nothing and feeling nothing but the cold. Something has happened. She was just on KRAKOA, and something stole Cable's face, and it feels like she's in a black hole. Everything around her feels crushing, physically and emotionally. An endless despair, everything feeling flat, lifeless, and hopeless. And she reaches out for something, for anything to latch on then, anything that she can latch onto. And that's when she hears a buzzing in her ears, hearing somebody talking. And then we cut over to Cable. But this is Cable taken over by the god Null. And he's talking to Manifold, asking Manifold if he likes what he's done with the new place, the new anti-KRAKOA, if you will, a dark garden of death. And though he doesn't have full control of this place yet, he will momentarily, because he is spreading like a disease over the landscape. And how, you may ask? How did Null do this so easily? He simply used the private entrance, and everyone was so shocked and shooken by his arrival that all of their attention was on him. But he still had a dead dragon, still with so much raw symbiote material for him to work with. And so he reached out and he used it as a tidal wave to wipe over most of the mutants and most of KRAKOA. And so now all of the pieces on the board belong to Null. And as he slowly and leisurely goes through which mutants he wants to keep for his own private collection and which ones that are completely useless to him, it brings him to Sunfire and Cortez. And obviously Null, not being a fan of the sun, immediately kills these two on the spot. He can't have any kind of sun trying to pop up and cause a disruption. And then Null turns his attention to Manifold, asking, now what to do with you? And then we see Brand and WizKid. And WizKid is filling her in, letting her know that he solved the communication problems with the KRAKOan portal down on KRAKOA. Now, the issue isn't necessarily with the comms anymore. Nobody is responding down there, which means something bigger is at play. And WizKid, he really wants to go down there and try to do some kind of help. But Brand tells him that he needs to be where he is most needed. And so they try their ace in the hole. And this is when she patches into her team out in the field. And this is when we see Mentello and the rest of the team in their giant tank at the Arbor Hatchery. And Summers overhears this with a gun pulled on him, and we see the rest of the 5 kind of just taking over the situation. And this is when Brand and Summers have a conversation here. And Summers asks, like, is what I'm seeing correct? Like, is this a legit attempt for you to try to kidnap? And this is where Brand tells her, like, this is not kidnapping, Summers. We're trying to ensure the survival of the humankind and mutant kind. And so this is where Summers asks for the details, and she fills her in. You know, Mentello was supposed to escort her to the summer house on the moon. There she could take the Cerebro cradle, the mind bank, to the Shi'ar Empire. DNA samples would be brought to her, not all of them, but enough to eliminate inbreeding and other risks. And then if human life is wiped out, she does what she needs to do and bring it all back. And Mantello can perform the necessary telepathic surgery to do what's needed. And Summers is not on board with any of this. And she lets her know, the Five's reason for being is to bring every mutant back. They're still struggling and dealing with the loss of Rockslide and Gorgon. And now you want us to lose millions more. She completely agrees. Establishing a backup hatchery in a secure location is a grand idea. But doing it on the fly during a universal crisis, she believes this is absolutely stupid. But while these two are arguing, we see a flash. And this is when we see the arrival of WizKid, and seeing that he teleported here, because he built a translocator into the chair and a receiver into the think tank. And since he had suspected that the Krakoan gate had been compromised, he figured this would be the best course of action, because he's going to where he's most needed, and he's going to do the most good. But this is when we see symbiotes start attacking. And they have to do their best to protect all the pods. And this is where WizKid attaches the chair to the think tank, essentially turning it into freaking Optimus Prime. And they start blasting away at symbiote vines. And then we cut back over to Manifold and Null. And Null's really beating him down, letting him know, yeah, you may be everywhere, man. You may be able to manipulate space and the universe. And you may be a universal teleporter, but you're not an Omega. Telling him he's not good enough, and there's probably someone bigger and better out there than he is. But this is when Manifold opens up a portal to the center of the sun. And this is when Null says, I think not. And then body slide. And we see Cable Null teleport to behind Manifold, and these two start dueling it out in a teleporter battle royale. And we're seeing both of them try to make their moves. We're seeing a body slide here, a body slide there. We're seeing Manifold do his best to try to stay out of the grasp of Null. But eventually, Null outsmarts him and gets him on the ground, only for in that instant, Frenzy to come flying out of the sky and literally rip Cable's arm right off. And now that Manifold has had the opportunity to catch his breath, he lets Null know that he doesn't manipulate space. He asks the universe for favors. He talks to the universe. And they get along. The universe does him favors from time to time. I don't know, like, catch a piece of the sun. Move it from there to here and wrap it in a bubble of folded space so it doesn't hurt anyone. At least anyone he doesn't want it to. And this is when he takes this little piece of the sun and blasts it all over KRAKOA. And we see a bit of sunlight break through. And KRAKOA has freed itself. One of two places in all of the world that have been able to hold off the god symbiote's whole vast army has been Wakanda and now KRAKOA. And then we see Cable feeling like he just isn't enough, never good enough. He was taken over by Null, and Magneto lets him know that the creature even took over his father. It took all of them without any effort. If there's any common factor here, it's not a deficiency of talent. And so he tells him not to blame himself. And Manifold and Frenzy, they ask, what now? And he tells Manifold to guard the gate until this is all over. And once all of this is all over, he wants the Five to resurrect Cortez because him and Magneto have some matters to discuss. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Personally, I absolutely love this one. Just on the art alone, it was absolutely fantastic. But I really do appreciate how they've been taking Manifold and really putting his powers on display and letting us know, Manifold isn't just some low-level X-Men character. Like, this guy is an Omega. Maybe not having the title right now, but he will have that title in due time. They are slowly building up to that, and I cannot wait to see what Manifold's true potential really is going to be. Because like he said, he asked the universe for favors, so he can literally do anything, and his power is essentially, it's unimaginable, it's unobtainable, it's unmeasurable. But yeah, all in all, these were 2 good tie-ins this week. They were definitely not fillers, at least in my opinion. They didn't feel like that. We really got some good character development in the Amazing Spider-Man and in the S.W.O.R.D line. So I have to give both a huge thumbs up. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Be sure to check out Captain Marvel and the Black Knight. I'm going to be dropping those videos a little bit later on today, so be sure that you hit that notification bell. Be sure you're subscribed to the channel. Do me a favor and like this video, share it around for me a little bit, and until the next breakdown.